were realistically unable to limit me unless they cheated. And cheating doesn't count. It all has to be uncounted. How can something or someone attempt to cheat and miscount something that is lies? I can do that too. However, do I do that? No. There's no point of that. What's the point of that? A lot of groups, a lot of people, they're on some type of a low vibrational something, thoughts. Doings, and a wide variety of other things. And their thoughts have nothing to do with reality, realistically. And yet these people go around and these people make wrong choices, wrong decisions. Okay? Those people make a lot of wrong choices, wrong decisions. And doing so mess with other people's patterns, also making wrong choices, wrong decisions. Here I am deleting photos of pictures I was going to spend my time with and talk about, of the sugars, of the poison. And you know what I did? I was too busy. I couldn't do everything at once. That's for later if I really want to. That's somebody else's job. Somebody can go to all the stores and see all the poisons and chemicals and make a topic of discussion about that. Realistically, I'll be honest with you. If you go to the store and if you see any from animal products and it doesn't say technology or natural passing or carrying hands and all this, what I've mentioned from day one till today regarding, well, I can't say day one till today on that one. However, I remember I didn't mention various things. I was just giving people the answers, what to do, so that everything else can be. While I knew the answers, they didn't realistically understand something correctly. So yes, whenever I say from long time ago till today, from day one till today, usually that equals whenever I was aware, I mentioned that. However, that is realistically true every time I mentioned that. Unless I corrected myself, then that was a different story. So you know what some groups are doing? While I'm telling them, like, hey, you know what? What you guys are doing is botherative. They're saying they want to disregard that. They want to say no because of us. Because of us, you made that choice and you made that decision because of us. Okay? They don't want to admit the fact that they're wrong, in other words. You know what else is fascinating to me? A lot of people, what they're doing every single day, they got a lot of people accustomed to a lot of abnormal behavior. Too many, okay? Way too many abnormal behavior. Yeah, a lot of people have gotten people accustomed to this type of whatever they've gotten people accustomed to. Yeah, if I make a mistake or I do something, that doesn't, it's like a folk tale, I do a folk tale. You know how you burp when you're sitting down with a gathering of people? That's a folktale. Something is weird, you know? You shouldn't be burping in the dinner table. Yet some people, they got accustomed to something much more worse than a burp, and yet nobody talks about that. It's like this big elephant in the room, you know? No one talks about that. And then when something or someone makes a little tiny mistake like that, you know, whatever they do, you know, oh. And to be honest with you, those people are illogical to me. You know what illogical is? Nonsense. A lot of people don't make sense of anything, whatever anything it is that they're doing. Yet they're telling me or something or someone else, like, hey, you know what? Okay, sure, yeah, I accept that, okay? Yeah. However, isn't everything else wrong too, in terms of what you got accustomed to? Because if you're going to say I'm wrong or I'm doing some type of mistake, sure, one thing, I accept that, okay? I'll correct my mistake. I try not to make a mistake again. However, you cannot sit there and try to ignore all the things that you guys are accustomed to that is realistically the definition of what is realistically wrong. I go on social media, I see a lot of people posting a lot of nonsense images of themselves. Generally, that's wrong. Is that correct with specific elements? Yeah, specific elements, that's correct. Generally, that's wrong. What are you guys going to do? Aren't you guys going to change that? Or are you guys going to say, oh no, we're just going to make this narrative because we're aware, yet we're going to act unaware, and we're going to maintain this narrative because if things go this, we can do this. The only problem is you guys are creating that. People are creating problems. They're saying this can go this way, this can go this way, this can go this way, this can go this way. And you know what they're doing? They're creating the this way. Instead of focusing on what can realistically matter and what is realistically true in terms of what the answer realistically is, they're saying, no, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. There's a different story, okay? This story has to do with a lot of losers that they realistically lost. They need to get the heck out of here or whatever, anything that they betted on that still makes sense. And yet, some other people are leaving or something instead of those specific groups. So something similar to that is occurring, where the loser is enjoying some remedies and the winner, because they possibly played some politics. Well, I guess the winner isn't realistically a winner because they played politics, so they lost on that. That's why they're also leaving too. The winner realistically isn't leaving. The winner is tied to these nonsense groups possibly and are affected in a particular style, where then seems though the winner is losing. And these nonsensers are trying to go off with that false narration. And yet I just tested them and they failed because they try to lie. Bunch of liars. Be aware of a bunch of unjust liars. What they're going off of is anything that doesn't make sense. However, it does make sense. They're just picking and choosing instead of seeing everything with everything. You know, where everything belongs realistically, how everything belongs realistically. So something is baffling to me. You know, the fact that people are literally creating problems and saying, "Oh, well, this goes this way, this goes this way. We can do this, and this." Seems though they want that to happen. They do. Because I understand what's realistically going on. I'm telling you, if you guys focus on realistically stopping all the nonsense things that they're realistically doing, then you know what happens? 9 out of 10 times, all those nonsense things that they say, well, this can occur, doesn't realistically occur. And so it seems though they're literally creating problems and then wondering why the problems are being created. And doing so, while the problems are being created, don't care about the problems being created. I think a lot of groups are winning with while people are doing a wide variety of doings, and they're just gaining a lot of credit, gaining a lot of merit, gaining something throughout the midst. And realistically, doing so causing some type of issue, whatever that issue is that they're causing. While people are doing a wide variety of doings, a lot of what's going on. You know what that equals to? Equals people repeating and mentioning a wide variety of doings and things, reminding. This is a reminder game. Not a game, however, realistically, this is a reminder thing, whatever thing that anything anybody's doing. It all has to do with a lot of reminders, okay? Because what's going on is people are trying to make people forget. So then what you do is you counterbalance everything, remind people of everything, everything that you know of. Doing so, that settles. People know what the truth is in terms of reminding everything. Then, after doing so, in terms of reminding everything and everyone everything, what happens is that settles. You know, the truth settles. Nonsense is back off. If people know what is what, those nonsense groups, if they try to play a game, they'll fail. You know, a lot of people think they beat me. They don't realize that I have thousands of elements that they have not even understood what the truth was. They haven't beat me. Yet this is not a battle. This is realistically about understanding and realistically doing what is true, being the answer. So, going back to what I was saying, this is a reminder of the reminder that people need to realistically be knowing, understanding, and knowing something much more better than anybody trying to suppress them, excuse me, and trying to limit them and trying to make them forget of a wide variety of issues, whatever the issues may be. You know, with people understanding a wide variety of doings, also, you know what the answer realistically is. Once people understand a wide variety of doings, they can then change something. That was a reminder of what I was talking about earlier. People can change something if they feel though that that is correct for them. However, the problem was something didn't stick or glue correctly, and people were jumping from here and there. Too many people jump from here and there for too many times. So, okay, so while people are doing something, a lot of groups are getting credit, fitting themselves in their narratives. You know what needs to occur? Those people need to not know anything. Those groups, similar to what I mentioned earlier, they not know a thing because they having the wrong math, and what all they're doing is they're adapting to the wrong math, and they're possibly going unnoticed. However, not really, because people are aware of them too. However, the point of the matter, realistically, is that they cannot know anything. It won't make sense. And I'm all about a sense type of a person in terms of everything realistically being understood correctly, being established to then make sense, so that everything can move forward correctly of the direction that everything is supposed to realistically go. So, regardless of what anybody's saying, they may say, okay, well, this is a correct choice. This is a correct direction. This is this. This is this. Well, you know what the most correct is, regardless of what anybody tells you? Information. Okay? Information. Information is much more correct than me doing something, even though something is much more correct too, in terms of growing myself. The information known, people can move forward. People can make sure there's no clashes occurring. People can do their part to understand that there's no issues that is problematic. Okay? That's what the answer is. Yet some people think, oh no, this is correct. This is correct. Oh yeah, yeah, I know. I know. Something is much more correct than some people think is correct. Okay? Yet the information is correct for something to be moved forward, no clashes to occur, so everything can move forward correctly. I and many people, you know what they have done with being true? Trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars have been saved, even though different types of groups have went against that and lied and made people believe that the opposite was true. Okay? So realistically, with trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars saved, realistically, people are, of course, able to go back to their doings of whatever it is they need to do. Allowing that other thing to happen in terms of clashes occur. In other words, similar to if the significant thing is not done, everything else will be irrelevant. So definitely, in terms of the significant thing being done, for everything else to be done is the correct answer, regardless of what anybody tells you. So every single day I've done my portion. Every single day I've done my part. And I know me doing my job, many groups and people, from my understanding, from day one till today, also did theirs also. So you know what's fascinating to me? Every single day, people doubted me or something. Every single day, did some type of weird thing, and every single day, I proved them wrong. Generally, and every single day, they did the same thing again, almost to think, well, could that be why something or something is something? No, that's illogical. The answer is the fact that people are the answers and are true, and growing what is true, multiplying what is true, feeding what is true for something to realistically work out. Because otherwise, everything else is a poking sensation. Okay. So many people, to be honest with you, are not similar to what I was mentioning earlier, to do with something being a puzzle. Many things of what people are doing is similar to an unpuzzle of what they're doing, and yet they're doing something. And doing that is similar to realistically a forceful act of what people are doing. And the forceful act of what they're doing, whatever, anything they're doing, is a problem. Also, you know what I also noticed? Speaking of forceful act, you know how people have a lot of works to do, a lot of jobs to do, and they can do something, and they can do something not only can do something very, very correctly. Well, that's me. I can not only do something, I can do something very, very correctly. Yeah, you know what some groups did? They forced themselves in people's lives, tired people out, and doing so, people were unable to move forward. When people were able to move forward, they had a lot of flaws, they had a lot of mistakes, whatever they did. And then some people played politics on this, said, "Oh, look, that was me too. That was me too." You know, took that deal in terms of a person being brainwashed is one thing. For a person to get out of brainwashing and strives to and wants to and does and gets out and is now healed, recovered, corrected, fixed, and the other person is still playing politics. They're still taking that deal in terms of, oh yeah, you know, I'm brainwashed, and they don't want to change. They don't want to put the effort in, and not only that, they're playing politics. So does that realistically work in terms of what they're doing? No, that's a baggage. Okay, there's a lot of baggages and excessive and useless and irrelevant doings, thoughts, ideas, and notions, and maybe relevant later. Maybe relevant later. However, there's a difference. There's a mix within that. There's irrelevant information that is relevant still, however, may be relevant later or may be relevant too. And there's irrelevant information that has nothing to do with what the truth is and is realistically going against what the truth is, and therefore is why something is irrelevant. The person's visions, the thoughts, the words, the doings, nothing has to do with what is truth. Something is a misspent of time, realistically. So some people are putting a standard. They're saying, "Oh well, once the truth continues or this, we can, you know, do this. If something doesn't, then we can do this." However, the fact of that, even though that may be true, people still are disregarding various elements. You know, let's presume the truth isn't continuing because of X, Y, Z, and many other elements and beyond. of something or someone that is not continuing because of a variety of reasons. What? Is truth not supposed to be manifested? There's a mix here too then. The general rule of thumb, yes, if people are true, the truth, is grown, is fed, therefore the truth takes place. However, in terms of a mix, in terms of a specification and variation, if the truth is there's some type of a reason of why something cannot be true. Oh, in other words, what's going on is there's a specific doing that people are doing that feeds the truth going. However, if the person is not doing the specific thing, somebody is possibly confusing something with something else then. In regards to what people do, even if that's not the specific doing of what people are doing, even though whatever they may be doing, even though whatever anything is that they're doing is true, that's all that matters. You don't have to do that specific thing. Or maybe this is for a particular person and not everybody else. And some people are possibly mixing that or confusing that with something else then. In terms of there's a specific doing that you need to do for the truth to continue. However, if you're not doing that specific doing, then whatever else you're doing, if something is true, generally you're doing the same thing in terms of feeding what is true still, So I'll give you an example. At this moment of time, I'm speaking, I'm mentioning something. And while I'm speaking, I'm mentioning something. There's something that is irritating, something that is harmful throughout the midst that occurred and is bothersome, aggravates people, bothers people, irritates people, confuses people, takes people out of their course of what they're doing. These groups, these people, whoever's allowing them to do what they're doing, because they're being allowed to do this. If they weren't allowed to do this, they wouldn't do this. So these groups got on the wrong math. Somebody lied to them, and somebody believed the lies. Okay? If somebody lied to somebody chewed up the lies, made a bunch of blind choices, blind decisions. They're wrong. Those particular groups, they're wrong because they've disregarded so many elements. They've made a lot of blind choices, blind decisions. Their belief is wrong. Their decision is wrong. Their choice is wrong. Their timing is wrong. The elements are wrong. Their experience is wrong. The effects are wrong. Majority of everything they did is wrong. Okay? Then, whenever they're wrong, what they try to do is they try to flip the script. They try to compare themselves to something or someone else. Versus somebody that claims, oh, you disregard the elements, claims, oh, your belief is wrong, claims you're in the wrong place in the wrong time, claims you made a blind choice, blind decision, claims you didn't understand, However, you're correct. You're not wrong at all. Okay? So there's a huge difference. There's a huge difference between something or someone making you believe that you're wrong, making you think that you're wrong, versus something or someone that is realistically wrong. All that has to be distinguished. I was mentioning this yesterday. I mentioned this before. I'm going to mention this again throughout the midst. So something is remembered. So some people, in theory, they're just going off with this reality They're going off with various of other realities. They're even changing their realities to the true reality. They're just doing something just to do something to see ultimately what is what. And yet there's a lot of people and a lot of groups in the midst. What they're doing is they're also moving along without fixing, without correcting, without repairing, without straightening out, without being true. Okay? And you know what that equals to? Well, that equals to those groups and those people having a very, 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 very wrong effect on not only my life, however, people's life. That has nothing to do with what the answer realistically is. And what the problem is the fact that the answer, whatever the answer may be, is being mixed. Water. People may say, oh, what's inside? People may say, oh, this is what this is, 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 this is what this is. Yet they don't know what's inside. And not knowing what this is, because the answer is the water, yet the answer is mixed. This is similar to what's going on outside. People are going around all over the place doing a wide variety of doings and not fixing anything. And instead of being the water too, they're being a mix. And whatever the answer is, they're infecting, they're diseasing. The water now is something else. The water now being something else that has nothing to do with what the water is unable to be manifested correctly, is unable to be moved correctly, is unable to be how the answer is supposed to be correctly. Oh yeah, you know what else is going on too? While I'm mentioning what I'm mentioning, there's people that are undermining, deterring, distracting, making people passive, making people submit, and a wide variety of other doings. Whatever anything equals to anything or anyone with their perception, perspective, effects, influences, beliefs, and a wide variety of other elements. A lot of people are simply agreeing and listening to a lot of people that have no idea what they're talking about versus people that realistically know a thing or two of whatever it is that they're talking about. So be aware of this. The entire point is to be the answers, to be truth, to anything that is truth can continue. That is having a good effect overall, influence, and a wide variety of other good things, whatever anything may be, is the answer. So the problem is that anything is continuing, and anything that is continuing in some type of a wrong continuation. And that wrong continuation is having a wrong effect and is messing with what the answer is. And therefore, something is corrupted. Something is diseased. Something is influenced wrongly. and affected wrongly. And some people are showing people a wide variety of weird visions, trying to keep people in low vibrations, possibly. Nothing to do with what the answer is, what the truth is. And are mixing this in terms of showing some vision with me and something else or someone else, and having a wrong effect. I think what's going on is people, because they don't have true knowledge, being the first step and fulfilling themselves all the way through with all elements with true knowledge, they have a wide variety of other thoughts and ideas and visions and mixed all over the place, similar to what I was mentioning yesterday. Some people, they're mixed all over the place. They're not filled with true knowledge in a second step, third step, fourth step, fifth step, sixth step, seventh step, etc. They're mixed with knowledge, they're mixed with that notion, they're mixed with that idea, they're mixed with that vision, they're mixed with that thought, they're mixed with this, all over the place. And being all over the place, they're thinking in this all over the place mentality, making blind choices, decisions with all over this place mentality, and doing so having a wrong result or a wrong effect of whatever anything it is that they're doing. Their choices are blind choices, nothing to do with what the choice is. Their decisions are blind, nothing to do with the decision is. And possibly making a wrong choice and a wrong decision, nothing to do with what the truth is, infecting or affecting other people to also make wrong choices, wrong decisions. Because overall, this is how everything is operating. One person does something wrong, infects another person to do something wrong. Another person does something wrong, affects another person to do something wrong, and next thing you know, you have a lot of wrong effects and influences and wrong choices, wrong decisions. When people are wondering why something is not the way something is supposed to be, well, there's your answers. What else are you guys thinking about? I'm putting a huge effort, huge, to do something. This is not how I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be healed at this moment of time. I'm supposed to be out of all my predicaments at this moment of time. And I was supposed to be able to move forward 1,000 years ahead. And I was supposed to take people 1,000 years ahead with me. And yet, we're 1,000 years behind because of all these wrong effects. People say, oh, yeah, these good thoughts are being born. Yeah, dots, dots, dots. Dots are being born. The ocean is still not being fulfilled. Sorry to burst your bubbles. Just because I take anything, whatever I take, and I can turn this into a lemonade, I can. If I really want to, I can turn this into a lemonade. But you gotta add food coloring. The point is not me turning this into a lemonade. The point is whatever people are doing, I'm utilizing, I'm doing something correctly. The problem is something is dots in the pool still, nothing to do with what the ocean is or what is the need. Realistically, of if I was out of my predicaments, if I was chilled and everybody was chilled out of their predicaments, everything would be correct. Yet these groups, they're being allowed, somebody's allowing them to do what they're doing from day one till today. That's what I believe to be true. This also has to do with how some timing will take for somebody to heal and get out of predicament to do what is needed. Yet some people bombard people with more, 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 and something is not able to be manifested correctly. Is the problem. So something not being able to be manifested correctly also, of course, influences something or someone else to also, or something else, excuse me, to also not be manifested correctly. I think what people are doing is they're understanding something all over the place with their perception, with their perspective, and because their perception and perspective is skewed, they're learning something and they're utilizing those perceptions and perspectives with the information that they're receiving. In other words, every single thing that has to do with any form of live vision, live thought, remember this. This is boldness. This is the most important for those specific groups of people that think in a skewed perspective. Any form of vision with wrong visions, any form of wrong thoughts, any form of wrong feelings, they're supposed to, and thoughts and ideas and anything else, whatever anything else is, they're supposed to unlearn everything. That's the first step for them. Unlearn every single thing to then be able to relearn everything to do with what is true, to then be able to use truth correctly. Otherwise, they're not unlearning anything. And not unlearning anything, what they're doing is they're learning something, and whatever anything is that they're learning is not how something is supposed to be. And so their decision, their choice, their understanding is all over the place. And with their all over the placeness, they're making wrong choices, wrong decisions, not realistically seeing or understanding something the way something is. You know how somebody drinks water and understands the water and feels the water, and the information is the water that goes inside the human body? So to somebody else, drinking that water or anything else that they're doing is not the same. Nothing is the same. Similar to a person looking at a color blue, instead of seeing the color blue, they're seeing purple. They're seeing light purple. Yet the color is the color blue. And this happens to be a little bit dark blue. I'm not talking about the person being colorblind with watching colors or drinking water and tasting something different. I'm talking about the fact that something or someone is not understanding something correctly to be able to make correct choices and decisions because they may be all over the place. And yet, to get out of this all over the placeness, all people have to do is partake in the basic principles. Seek correct visions, think correct thoughts, say correct words, think correct feelings. Well, not only think correct feelings, however, feel correct feelings in terms of being correct. Food, eating healthy food instead of junk food, refraining from putting poisons of vaccines, pills, chemicals, and too much sugar within your body. Oh yeah, speaking of vaccines and pills, anybody that did any form of pills or any form of vaccines, do yourselves a favor. Chew on garlic about 15 to 30 minutes a day. That will detoxify your blood. Eat onions. Eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, and clean your blood. Okay, clean your blood, detoxing from all these poisons that you were poisoned, that you poisoned yourself with. Some people in their theories, I think, in their bets and their theories, what they did is nothing had to do with what the truth was at all. They had in the wrong math, they had a wrong perception, they had a wrong idea, they had a wrong everything about the person. Yet they convinced people, oh look, this is how the person is. Oh look, this is what this person is. Oh look, we can do this and let's see that. They were playing a game on themselves. A lot of people played a game on themselves and try to drag me in the process. While the entire time I'm giving the information of what is true, what is false, So you can realistically understand what is true, what is false, so you can realistically be the answer. Okay? So you could literally be the answer. And so what you choose, what you decide, what you need, what you want, what you partake, what you're in quote unquote support of, and I don't want to use that word except I'm just going to use this word for this occasion. Support of, whatever you support thereof, whatever you're buying, you're selling, you're entertaining, and you're dwelling on in terms of what you're putting your energy and your thought into, whatever you're creating, all has to be true of getting out, unlearning all those things that people are in a predicament of. To then be able to unlearn that type of a predicament, to then be able to get out of that type of a predicament, to then be able to relearn everything. And this is generally what is true in terms of getting out of those predicaments. I think some people, what they believed is whatever they believed. Their belief, however, had nothing to do with what the truth was. So, one thing to believe, one thing to think something, another thing to make blind choices and decisions based on a wrong form of belief, okay? So, the entire point is that belief, whatever people did believe, doesn't occur, isn't manifested in reality. Is that real? No. So, therefore, why should anybody make a choice decision or be able to make a choice decision based on their belief that is false? I shouldn't be able to. No one should be able to. Hence, I said long time ago the lies should be filtered out. This was over 2 years ago, over 3 years ago, via thought and via mentioning similar to this from my uh, recollection. Recollection. I mentioned true measurements in terms of what the true measurements of via thought over possibly over 1,000 or more times. So there seems to be a delay or some type of a lag occurring. So what is that about? What is the lag or delay? Where is that stemming from? Whatever that lag or delay is. I think what's going on is a lot of people, from my understanding, from what I'm sensing, is they're listening to a lot of other people, and other people are making a lot of people fail. Remember, politics is traps. Anytime people think about politics, think in terms of traps. People break promises, people lie, people cheat, people steal, people misuse, people corrupt, people tell you what you want to hear, show you what you want to see. Nothing is real. I don't play politics, fortunately. This is similar to a person that's never smoked cigarettes, with the example I'm mentioning, and never smoked cigarettes. Okay? That's me. I never played politics, and I'm never going to play politics. So anybody that is playing politics needs to get out of my life. And then when they're true, and then when all truth decides of myself to do with most nearest to furthest of what the truth is, then people can say, okay, you know what, this person, based on their all Mr. story, they can yet again be introduced to something. Remember the weak argument in terms of people may say, "Oh, well, I have to know about this person because this person is doing this or doing that." That can be said with anybody and anything. That's a weak argument to me. So no. Whatever the most correct will be, generally is what is true. However, people I've noticed this some type of a forceful thing and said, "Oh well, this is the most correct." No, no, you can't force something and claim that something is the most correct of whatever some people try to do. That's not what the most correct is. So some people are only fooling people, and of course you have to fool yourself to try to fool, attempt to fool something or someone else. Some people are hoping and praying that I don't mention something. Well, guess what? If I don't mention something, something still will be known. Sooner than later, something will be known. I'm sensing very various weird emotions. Anger, frustration, confusion, low vibrations, hate, jealousy, denial, selfishness. I'm sensing all this. All this is stemming from other people that I believe what they're trying to do is they're trying to change the story. They're trying to infect other people to be part of their network. You know, they're forcefully trying to do something, seems though, whoever these groups are. And they will fail. They have to fail. They cannot do this in terms of something being wrongly, whatever they're doing. They're trying to maintain a story. They're trying to maintain a wrong measurement. They're trying to maintain a wrong narrative. That's what they're doing. Nothing to do with me. They're playing a game on themselves while trying to drag people in the process realistically is what that equals to. And some people I'm noticing through the midst, they're doing some type of a sophisticated form of um, thoughts or visions. You know how somebody is eating food and they're hungry again? They're doing some type of comparing with me and somebody else. That's what they're doing. A lot of times people do a lot of comparing with me and something or someone else, and me and that person have nothing to do with one another. Okay? You know how somebody has a high likelihood chance of doing something, whatever that something may be. Well, that's what some people are doing. Something is a high likelihood of a chance of something or someone doing something. So then they're showing visions and thoughts, and they're also trying to mix possibly. They're trying to mix some type of a vision, some type of a thought with something that is natural. So people can say, oh no, look, the person, is because of this, because of this. They're trying to change the story. Don't ever believe these groups, whoever these groups are. They're a bunch of cowards. They're a bunch of liars. They don't belong in any form of positions of power, if you ask me. Okay? They will be known, if not known already, who they are. Whatever sticks, they go with. Whatever the story is, they attempt to go with, even though something is false or whatever anything is that they're doing. So these are a lot of low life groups, if you ask me. They failed, so they're desperate. So whatever they're trying to do to try to convince, win people over is what they're doing. Remember, these groups have lost from day one till today. Okay, they lost from day one till today. You got the story correct. Yes. Okay. And what they did is they relied on fooling, duping, conditioning, convincing, brainwashing, distracting, cheating, lying, stealing, anything. And this is how they've been able to move forward the entire time. Okay? Be aware of these harmful groups. You know, from a long time ago, numerous people were. Well, they only acted like they weren't. Some groups even claimed, oh, these virus groups themselves are more guideful than something or someone else. You know, they started they started thinking so heavily into their nonsense creation that they also manifested that thought at one point of time. So some people may say, oh well, what's the standard for this? What's the standard for this? Why is the person doing this? Why is the person not, refraining from doing that? And every time that reminds me of people are accustomed to too many lies. Okay, way too many lies. And them being accustomed to too many lies, they've been entertaining and dwelling in all this, got accustomed to this, made other people accustomed to all of that, and to them something is normal, even though something is a violation, something is abnormal, something is the realistically the problem, versus something else that realistically isn't a problem, even though it's a folk tale. And if you know what a folk tale is, that folk tale is a psychological term where something is rude. You can do something else instead of doing that of whatever you did. That's a folk tale. You know, something that is rude, something that you can refrain from doing. However, my point is okay, yeah, you're correct. Okay, you're correct. However, what about all the other things that people are accustomed to, wherever anything may be, that they're doing, and no one talks about that. You know, this big elephant in the room. And people turn a blind eye. Well, how long is that going to go on for? You know, how long is that going to last? Realistically, that shouldn't last at all. Something is abnormal. Some people act like, oh, we're unaware, you know, we don't know. Yet I know that they're aware. So there's just a whole lot of nonsense, you know, in terms of things making sense. However, when you look at the totality perspective, it doesn't make sense at all. When you look at, you know, from a five perspective, from 10 perspectives, it may make sense. When you look at it from the totality perspective, when you understand the entire phenomena, it doesn't make sense with a lot of people, whatever they're doing. They're just fooling themselves. They're fooling themselves while they're thinking that they're fooling me. I know what people are doing. They're also looking for live reactions, live opinions, redoing something over and over again. People may say, "Oh, the person's aware, so we have to redo something again." Whether I'm aware or not aware from day one till today, with specific elements, without anybody telling me, with me simply connecting the dots, you still will see the same reaction, same opinion. Nothing will change. There's no point of what you guys are doing is the point. Similar to all the useless, all the irrelevant garbage that people did from day one till today. That was no point. They just played a game on themselves, went in circles 10,000 times. And they try to, then when they failed, they tried to then blame everything and everyone else. They're still seeing a reflection from me. They're still seeing a nice reflection from me in terms of my tone, my voice, my everything, to be honest with you. The speedness of how I'm mentioning something instead of, backing off and, with the flow and everything. They're still out of flow. Yet they don't want to make sense. They want me to make sense. That's the game. A lot of groups not making sense. They want me to make sense so they can make sense. No, they're wrong. Whoever is wrong is supposed to make sense in the beginning, then everything else makes sense thereafter. Whoever is the most wrong, not mislabeled, not defined, not in the wrong definition. However, realistically, them being wrong and them being wrong in who they are. The virus is what needs to change and be truth. Notice in that element, some people have done in various different elements, they've done the same, similar, different thing. So you won't notice. The virus is what's supposed to change and be truth. The truth is not supposed to change and be virus. The earth is not supposed to change and be similar to Mars. The Mars is supposed to change and be similar to Earth. The dysfunction is supposed to change and be a function. The function is not supposed to change and be a dysfunction. The normal is supposed to be better than normal. It's supposed to be better and much more of what the normal is. The abnormal is not supposed to suck down or drag down the normal in the process and make something abnormal and then make something more abnormal and make something more abnormal. That's one of the topics of discussion. Normal and abnormal, function, dysfunction, sense and nonsense, truth and something that is false, wrong and something that is correct, just and something that is unjust. Okay? Everybody is supposed to go from something that is going against their own very being, their own very nature, to something that is supposed to be who they're supposed to realistically be. Not the other way around. You know what I think some people have done? They've done some type of a twisted wrong math this entire time. And doing so, while people are continuing, whatever they're continuing is fitting in their narrative. And they're continuing the wrong math. They're continuing damages, they're continuing problems, flaws, errors, and a wide variety of other problems of whatever they're doing. And not making sense of anything. So something is much more better than some people have made seem. So I think a lot of people, what they're doing is they're playing a game on themselves, though, it seems though. Okay? A lot of people are playing a game on themselves, and they think that something to do with their weird reality of whatever their weird perception of reality is, they think that has to do with my reality. My perception of reality is heaven on earth, similar to how the nature is perceiving reality, not how some people have perceived reality. Their perception is skewed. Their perception has nothing to do with reality. I think some people are trying to hide my own information from me. I think that's what's going on. The fact that they're even doing that is a problem of on itself. Not kidding. The very same thing that people are doing is a problem on itself of whatever anything it is that they're doing. I know what people are doing. They're very, very fortunate. They're very, very thankful, and they're very, very valuing everything that I'm doing because they know I'm freestyling. I'm not going off of a script based on knowledge. And there's millions and trillions and infinite information of where that arrived from too. While some people are being unappreciative, not valuing something, not understanding something, not wanting to understand something, and not only that, going against. Okay, going against. That's the problem with a variety of groups. They're not only unappreciative of something, they're not only unvaluing something, the very same thing that may be keeping them alive, they're going against the very same thing that's keeping them alive, similar to a vacuum. Okay? They're vacuums. They're even showing that they're vacuums, who the vacuums are. Everybody, people are realistically understanding something correctly, they'll realize that whatever people are doing, anything that people are doing, the person is realistically telling you who they are. Okay? Everybody's supposed to be unaccustomed to any form of wrongdoing, whatever any form of wrongdoing anything is, in terms of messing with humans, messing with animals, putting junk in their bodies. All this is all part of the scheme, is all part of the de-evolution, is all part of the temporariness. You see the mountains, you see the sky, there's no birds. All has to do with the wrong choices, wrong decisions people have made for hundreds and thousands of years. And continuing this path, you're talking about several years, if a little bit more, give or take, of life left in terms of a wide variety of people's lives. If somebody else is not suffering, somebody else will take the hit. Somebody else will not take the hit, somebody else will take the hit. That's the phenomenon of what people are really dealing with. Continuing in the path of nonsense. How naive, how egotistical do people have to be to realistically want somebody else to take the hit and not change something? Something may happen today and tomorrow and the next day and the year thereafter and the week of some type of a suffering that people don't stop immediately of all the nonsense that they're partaking in. You don't care about the person taking a hit, the other person's not going to care about you taking the hit either. All these violations everywhere that people are doing, whatever anything that they're doing, is all part of the problem of anything or anywhere anybody's going and doing whatever they're doing. They're realistically wherever they're going and whatever they're doing, either they're feeding what is true, everlasting direction, or something to do with false and temporary. And people are suffering and people are taking hits because of other people because people are not making the most correct choice decision. Let's presume everybody makes a correct choice decision. Well, who are the people that are playing politics and going against and causing issues? Everybody does have to be aware to do what they need to do in terms of being on the same page. Yet, while that is true generally, of course, there's specifications and variations to certain elements in terms of why people are not aware and why that's a good idea for them not to be aware also. Some people think they got everything figured out. Well, I do too. Retake. So there's also people, what they're trying to do is they're always trying to, in terms of what occurs, everybody's trying to, you know how there's a line and everybody's trying to get some food? Well, the line is not for food, the line is for something else. And everybody's trying to get their narrative or portion or something. And the thing with that is something may be false of whatever some people are trying to do.